cock and ball torture.
CBT, cock and ball torture. From Wikipedia, free encyclopedia.
That is the weirdest thing that a psychologist has ever told me. That
you need CBT.
CBT. Yeah.
Yeah. My psych said that to me too. I ignored him.
If that's what you're into, and I trod on his balls.
For some reason I wasn't invited back. I'd be like, I'm paying the guy, but still, sheesh.
Normally people pay me for this.
Cheery.
Cuba.
When you think background color, what do you think gives you the most comforting vibes?
I tend to go with that, like, pastel blue.
Pastel blue. Kind of like this.
That's the sort of like, that's what I've recently been using as my default background color on Clip Studio, so that it's not too bright and not too dark.
Evening, Sable. Hi. How you doing? Let me tag open the Cheery stream when that little ho-ho goes live.
Oh, I'm not going live today.
Never mind. Okay, Cheery. Same as we did before, right? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Hang on. There's some stats here I don't want to see. I want to show an empty card. Thank you. Just the empty card. Could we get some creds for the art? We get credentials for the art? I think there was a way. I would like to see that. I guess that's who made it. Wait, no, that's background. Well, this is awkward. I know this ain't the websites. Fuck it, let's just pretend it's not a problem and it'll go away.
Why I can't read anything on the Discord stream, even though it's a decent size.
We having some problems? Some technical difficulties?
It's been one of those
laggy ass days.
It's just blurry.
Hang on, let me give you a stream quality 30 FPS 720p. What about now? Doth the problem cometh from thine eyes?
I mean, that's definitely a thing that it does come from my eyes. But no. Oh, are you waking up, Discord? Are you waking up?
Feeling it in their bones? I'll crank sound a bit.
I'm not that old.
Oh. Here, do me a That's good. I turned my computer up a bit to give you some more sound. Hello, Katomi, how you doing? Alright, let's generate a character because I don't we didn't get to tick any of these options when we first came in here, so do we generate character or randomize card? Generate character. Alright. We got Jarsley, Burbold, Cleric of Light Domain. Gambler. Female, 347 years old. Huh. This doesn't seem too bad, or maybe it is. Gambler is a really good negative personality trait to start out with, you know?
Yeah.
So let's go Jarsely. Furball. Cleric. Light. Gambler. Alrighty. So how did we format this before? We started with flaws. We always start with flaws. Is the gambling here a serious problem?
It depends, because I mean, it could just be, you know, they do it here and there as a, why not?
It would be interesting
Or
to see someone with
a
conflicting
compulsive
religious
gambler.
beliefs. Like if the religion's like, don't gamble, but they're like, I still have to, and it's like putting them at odds with their gods, you know? Paladins have to uphold a moral code, clerics don't.
I'm trying to think of what the D&D got. I know there's like one of law, so it would be interesting if there was a cleric of law in a place that had outlawed gambling,
Mm-hmm.
and they themselves loved to gamble. Like maybe they became a cleric before the ban was put into effect, and they got into it, and then the kingdom was like, okay, yeah, it's a problem. We're shutting down gambling, and the cleric's like, fuck you are.
Again, that's really a DM's discretion thing. I suppose that's the problem we had with that one terrorist we made. What was the name? Peleus Aloro. It's like very specific campaign focused.
But to be fair, that's kind of what the point of these was, wasn't it? It was so that you could kind of like, assuming you know a little bit about them. So, like, say I knew that, the D&D campaign you're running is on a world that's mostly water. It's based around island hopping. Therefore, I can build the character around that. Usually, you have at least that kind of an inkling beforehand.
What if they were a compulsive gambler, but like kind of overconfident, right?
Well, that's what a lot of compulsive gamblers are. They're like, oh, this time I'll win. This time I'll win. Got to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Overconfident to their own detriment and without any sort of backup plan.
Yeah. Willing to, they'll risk everything.
And it gets to the point where it's like, yeah, they go on a quest and it's like, you'll never survive the caves of chaos, and they're like, do you want to bet? You know, they have to make wages out of things. What's this playing to being a cleric, really?
Is there luck clerics? I know there used to be at one point.
I think that's still a thing.
I wonder how the gods would see a cleric using the luck for gambling to further themselves. Rather than being, you'd think that a gambler of like a cleric of luck would be trying to like influence other people to to be more lucky. How would the gods see that cleric if they were like, no, fuck everyone else. I'm going down the casino. So, oops, I just happened to have won roulette again.
I don't think I know enough about gambling. You know what I mean?
I know the games, and I know they're mostly chance.
How about we put a bit more into that backstory here, and let's say, like, they've lost a lot on bets before. And it's put them on the run. Maybe that's what drives them to the church, you know?
Could be. Maybe they were trying to escape their debts.
Yeah. And they get legal immunity in the church. And now it gets to this fragile balance of like, do I uphold my faith in the church? Or do I fall into my gambling addiction?
Maybe it wasn't even faith in the church. Maybe it was literally a, oh God, I owe like 10,000 gold. The only way I'm going to avoid this is if I give up my name, run away to a monastery, change the name to something different, and try and just completely cut ties with my old life.
What if they had a family before that? I suppose that'll play into like when we put like bonds.
Yeah.
Personality traits. I want to say that they've developed an anxiety complex after this behavior.
I'd say paranoia. If we're going with the whole they're running away from their debts, they're probably always looking over their shoulder, scared that they're going to get found.
Paranoid and always looking over their shoulder. That is a personality trait, but that is more of a flaw as well. No, it makes a personality trait more than a flaw. Paranoia can help you out. Especially in D&D.
Greedy? Probably why they started gambling in the first place.
Greedy and braggadocious. Perhaps.
Yeah, maybe they were the kind that were like, if they did win, they'd be the one down the pub going, oh, get everyone a drink, being all rowdy. And that's what sort of drew them to the attention of the person they got the big debt with. Maybe it was like a Thieves Guild leader or something was like, they keep winning big. Bring them to my casino, which is obviously going to be rigged because it's the Thieves Guild. And they lost a shit ton of money. At which point, the Thieves Guild leader's like, okay, time to pay up.
What do you say when you're like really bad with money?
Like
it comes into your bank the very next day, it's gone again. Impulse.
Yeah, impulsive.
It's a person who lives in extremes, I feel like. When they're winning big. When they're losing, it's so Jova.
Yeah, it's like the end of the world if they've lost. Even if it's just like one game, they feel it's kind of over, but then they're like, but no, it's okay. I'll do it again. I can win the next time.
Maybe this is why they like sort of this is probably like why they end up in the church as well, like so drawn to their like religious figures. It's like once they're told enough about this, they view their god as like really high up there because they've just been told that and they just buy it completely, you know? They just view everything to like the highest degree. We gotta have personality traits though. Ideals. I think they just want incredible wealth.
It could be something even. Could be something a bit more sinister that they went into the church to try and steal the money that they owed, because churches get a lot of donations.
Yeah.
So it could be that they're thinking, right, if I sneak into the church, if I become, mid to high tier in the clerical order, I'll be given access to the vaults.
But and instead,
then I can take the money they owe. And yet instead, they're like,
they were given a second chance.
It's like they're making a good point here.
Yeah.
Maybe the god did actually appear to them and go, look, I'm not stupid. I know the reason you are here, but hear me out.
I
At
see
which
it.
point they're like, actually, you're kind of right. I could be using these things for a good purpose. And maybe that can be like a thing that they work towards through the campaign, becoming a little bit, maybe they're still a gambler, but maybe they start, gambling more with sort of stuff that can help people. So rather than being like, I'm going to gamble to make money, it's like, look, we need money for this like orphanage.
Sure.
I tell you what, I will bet my life on the fact I can do this, and if I can do it, you will fund it for the next 2 years.
Let's say they're striving. Their ideals are that they're striving to turn their life around in spite of their crippling addiction.
It could be that they don't want to be a gambler anymore. That it could just be an addiction to them now.
Evening, Lord. Yeah. Probably just like an addiction they can't quite shake.
Yeah, so that it's one reason why it's really good being in the church, because they're not around it. But if they like left the church, went down to the pub, they'd kind of see someone playing dice in the corner, and they'd start having that urge rise of like, oh, that kind of it's right. I could just go and sit at the table and start playing dice with them. I could start gambling, and it's sort of that thing that most people who have been addicted to something have. If it's there in view, you start thinking about it more and more and more until eventually you cave in.
Yeah.
And maybe he's trying to get away from that.
We'll go with bonds. So they have the church.
Yeah, so it's going to be sort of people on the same level as him in the church. Possibly like a mentor in the church that was like, look, I used to be a gambler too. That's why I'm here. And if it can work for me, we can help you as well.
What if the church members are all like ex-cons to some like extent?
That would be an interesting one. Like just that entire sect of the church has all come from like, some of them used to be just plain thieves. Some of them used to like be highwaymen. Some of them are like ex-bandits, and they're all trying.
You just
to
have
run
like
away
one
from their old life.
assassin.
Yeah, that's just they're all trying to run away from their old life, which is why they're all clerics of light, because they're trying to get back into like the good place.
Or they're
Yeah,
using their talents now for the church.
Yeah.
Hey, chair.
I mean, just because they're clerics of light, it doesn't necessarily mean they have to be following a god of light.
And hi, Dad. Welcome on in, you two. Hope you're having a good evening. Yeah, let's say the bonds. Their fellow church members are all reform and putting their talents to work for their god. Read the wool, but that's cotton candy.
Throws you in the river.
I was thinking about getting a summer piece where William's just like chasing a volleyball down the beach and then trips and falls into the ocean, and then like it cuts the next panel and he's gone. Just like a little pink bikini's just floating there. Prime sub time. I can only agree. Use them if you got them, dweebs. Don't let the adverts win. Thank you for the prime sub, though. We can eat the sheep? Sadly.
I mean, to be fair, you could eat the sheep anyway. It's just now it's dessert rather than main course.
Oh. I see what you did there.
Just
Thank you for the 3 months, chair. Mwah. Yeah, so we say that they've got a bond with the church members. Do they have any family outside? Maybe they've got like a family that doesn't really know them because they're like an estranged sort of like father who like really fucked up.
And maybe it was like when the kids were like really young, the mother was like, "Look, until you fix this, I don't want you seeing the kids," and kicked him out. Could have been that's what the wake up call was, that he had to deal with, do something about it.
Yeah, maybe it was a situation where they came home with like that thieves guild debt and they were like, "Hey, honey, we're gonna have to like sell the house and move." And it was like, "This isn't your house. Leave." And he was like, "Oh fuck, church time."
Yes, but my name's on the deed, bitch.
Yeah. I get the general outline of a character and a plot here that I could probably write up, you know? Like the church of ex-convicts that now serves a god. That's a character that works.
And we've got an arc that they can go on, We've had they were a gambler. They've gone to a place to fix it, and then at the end of it they can be, still probably affected by it, but using it for a better purpose.
I don't think there's...
who needs donations when you can go down the casino and win like 1,000 gold coins and come back and go, right, that's us sorted for the next month.
Yeah.
We'll still have the donations, but we can do some real good now.
I think that works fine. I don't think we need to really add much to this. Like, the arc is self-evident, like any other personality traits or stuff are self-evident. Like, probably inadequacy from seeing all of their other, like, church members, like, having real talents and them just being, like, a gambler that wasn't really that successful.
Honestly, they could have been successful. And it could have been that one last one was that they got, scammed, essentially. It could be that, like I say, they were doing really well. They were just, maybe they were just really lucky, which is what was making them feel overconfident because they just kept winning. Noticed by the Thieves Guild leader, who's like, "Okay, you're doing pretty good. Do you want to roll it? Do you want to come to the high roller tables? This is where you go for it." And it's the Thieves Guild casino, which everything is rigged. You're never going to win.
I'll do my little stretch.
Guy goes in. The first couple of times they let him win because you got to make them seem like it's legit, and then they're like, wait till he's put down a lot of money, and boom, rigged.
Yeah.
You now owe 10,000 gold pieces to the Thieves Guild. Good luck with that.
Oh, character art source. I checked at Reddit.com D&D comments. Art Thicket the Furbolg Druid by R. Bold Adore _my. R. Bold Adore _my. There you go. We found the art sources. Okay. So we got that one done. Generate. What the fuck? The fuck is a beast hide shifter?
I'm guessing shapeshifter that puts the animal skins on to shapeshift. Guessing.
Crazy. This kind of sounds really basic here. We've got a beast hide shifter. There are a Drake Warden Ranger. And an urban bounty hunter.
I guess that kind of, because ranger skills is going to have given them good stuff for tracking, so they'd be pretty good at hunting bounties, you would think.
So hi Astra, what are we learning today? We're learning the pan and zoom elements. Hope you're doing good though. It's like I almost don't want to think about this one, but okay. Grace. Ranger. Bounty Hunter. What'd you put on the other one? Oh, right. Their race. Beast Hide Shifter. Again, the first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah, I'm completely guessing of what it could be.
I'll tell you what it is, though. It is dungeonmusings.wordpress.com. 4th edition Long Runner Shifter Ranger Hunter. There's the art source. It's an adorable model. Love how we go from goth to this. I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing's changed. Okay. So, urban bounty hunter, they're in big cities. How about elf cities? In fact, let's have our own fun of this. What is a Drake Warden? Let's do some side research.
It sounds like someone that deals with dragons, let's face it. Like keeping a population of dragons in check.
Connection to the natural world takes the form of draconic spirit, which can manifest in physical form as a drake. Okay. You're a dragon rider.
You're a monster fucker. Wait, different kind of riding?
You just got a dragon spirit on your side, basically. So what if we say... Urban Bounty Hunter. What if we say that this is someone who's like... What if they do sky crimes? Like, specifically. Like, maybe this huge city is so big that, like, when a crime takes place, where there's, like, some sort of flying contraption or flying monster, they send out this person.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like one of those airship towns.
Yeah, could be that. And it also could be this person is really, really knowledgeable about the streets. We're never going to find him from the ground level.
They're a fucking helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
They're a fucking helicopter pilot.
They're looking down and going, I can see him. They're over there. Shoots down arrows in the area where the people on the ground need to go towards.
A helicopter pilot. That's incredible. I like that. We made it make sense. That's great. So their shtick is, crime takes place. They fly above said crime, shoot an arrow down. Big fucking flag goes up. A third level, you get your little Drake companion. Let's go. Can it fly? When does it fly? Okay. It's 7th level. It flies.
Well, that's not bad. It could have been that, they started out like they got a name for themselves being able to track at lower levels. And then they get to the point where they can start, the thing can start flying.
They fly now.
And they're like, yep, they fly now.
I'm gonna say that they're bored. Right? I want to say this character is bored in their position because it's too easy for them.
Yeah, maybe like the town, towns are just too uniform and too easy to track in.
And they want to try some sort of like way bigger challenge. It's making them become reckless.
They long for that time when someone's going to turn up and like, we've got someone that's a cross-country criminal. We need you to track them in the wilderness.
Ooh.
At which point it's like, oh yes, that's my shit.
Let's say that they have a bond with the like city guard or city watch.
Well, and also they're going to have a bond with their Drake.
I think that goes without saying, no. So here's what I think. I think that the city watch is kind of holding them back.
Oh, red tape is holding them back.
Yeah, red.
Watch was like, oh no, you can't just be doing this on your own. You've got to come to us and talk to us about this stuff first.
Yeah, because they are like, they're a bounty hunter.
Yeah, so they're more vigilante than police.
It's like they alone have this power. So they think themselves sort of high and mighty, but the City Watch is like, don't do this. Stop doing this. And maybe it's more because the City Watch is like, if we lose this fucking asset, we're going to lose out on being able to apprehend so much shit.
It's basically their Batman. It's like, you are tolerated because you do a good fucking job. Don't be a dick, and we will allow you to continue as long as you cooperate with us.
Maybe that's a thing as well. Maybe they are just kind of a dick and think they're kind of superior. Ooh. Kind of dickish. Superiority complex. Going Eeper to the sheeper. I hope you have a good Eeper then. I'm gonna cough. So let's say personality traits. We are practically making Batman at this point, so let's just go ham. Brooding.
The brooding loner.
Brooding loner archetype. See, the thing is, Batman's still compelling. Let's just set up our little Batman here. And
he's
then
good at what he does.
Yeah.
It's just the way he does it is a little bit against the rules.
Okay. Bonds, flaws, personality, ideals. Why do they do this? Maybe the town they grew up is just like a crime-ridden Gotham. You know what I mean?
Oh god, are the arrows the utility belts?
Yeah.
He's had them enchanted by a mage so that, basically like the old arcane archer thing where you could attach spells to your arrows. Shoot the ground, oh look, it's entangled now, you can't escape. And things like that, so that, depending on the situation, you can use a different arrow to apprehend the criminals.
Let me have a look at Beast Hide shifters real quick. Stoic and solid, a Beast Hide shifter draws strength and stability from the beast within. Typically tied to the bear and the boar, but a creature known for its toughness could apply. Like a bat. Yeah, it is just Batman, you know. Do they have any family or anything? Or do you think that their only other bond is just the dragon?
At this point, it probably is just the dragon. Especially if we're going like full on Batman, chances are all the family is dead.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what got them into being a bounty hunter in the first place.
Yeah. They just figured, well, if the City Watch isn't going to do it, I'll track him down, tracks him down, puts an arrow in him.
And maybe they have already done that. They have got rid of the person that killed their family, and they're like, I spent all this time getting these skills, and what the fuck do I do with them now?
Not all D&D characters have to be, like, the most super original things.
Oh yeah, it's fine to base them on other things. I mean, there's no, like, originality. I mean, Batman was, like, based on a bunch of, like, the old, like, 1940s and 30s detective. There is an archetype that was, like, God, who was it? There was, like, some, like, Penny Dreadful story that was about basically Batman about 50 years before Batman. Batman himself is not original.
Yeah.
He's just been updated for the current, current climate, for the past 50 years.
Honestly, anything I could write here has been wrote into Batman before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's see.
At
Batman.
least given something interesting for this character that was, like, really kind of dull at first. I was like, what do you think?
Generic. I looked at this and I saw generic. Like, remove Beast Side Shifter, right? Ranger of Dragons, Urban Bounty Hunter. But luckily we have... Luckily, right here, we have... Twitter.com/Jeremy Crawford. This piece of art of a Loxodon fighter, an Eldritch Knight. I really need to turn off stuff like those agent things. No one ever does those.
I have no idea what that bit is.
Yeah. Actually, I can just re-roll some certain things here. Background. Luxembourg. Loxodon. Luxembourg. Yeah. Far Traveler? That works for me. Right. That works for me. So, we have a big elephant who has lived a very long time. Boop. Yeah,
lived a long time, traveled a long way.
Alrighty. Where to begin? So they're not just a traveler, they're a far traveler, and this is like the fancy saying. Giant elephant guy, he's probably been going on foot this whole way.
Oh yeah, he's going to be walking this.
Eldritch Knight also tells us a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he's got probably, depending on when he started fighting, a good couple of 100 years of experience in fighting. Which also means he must be good, otherwise he would have already died.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's just never really got into fights. It could be that he's lived for so long because he always avoids the fights.
Or what if it's something to do with he hasn't had any opportunity to fight? What if some sort of like arcane experiment goes wrong and they're just sort of like trapped in some weird eldritch vortex for a long time? And maybe the
Well,
far
that's-
travel is that they've been like traveling the realms trying to get home.
He just sort of ends up in either a completely other time or completely other dimension and has to get home. And it's taken him like 100 years to find. Maybe he hasn't even found home yet.
And all the while, the eldritch entities have been like, take our deal, take our offer. And like maybe occasionally he's accepted.
We can get you home. It was nothing. We just a snap of our fingers. We can get you home.
And they didn't get him home.
Or maybe they're like, we never said you're home. And they bring him to them. And then he spent all this time trying to get away from them.
Yeah.
So their wording was, we can bring you home.
So we'll put a thing here. Far traveler. Lost in an arcane accident, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay. Bonds will start. Let's say they were taken at a young age and have been driven by the singular thought of making it back home.
That I just thought of a really, really ironic idea.
What was that?
But there's a series that I've read once where the mages in there basically do a fucky wucky and cause a huge like time fuck up
They're
around
really good at
in a
it.
certain area. Yeah, they're really good at that. Maybe he was in there at the time and it's basically caused a huge amount of time dilation. And him walking from where the accident happened to the door of the place where he had to leave took 100 years because of the time dilation.
100 years for him.
For 100 years for the outside world, but it was like 5-minute walk for him. And so he walks out, and is all of a sudden he ages 100 years because everything kicks back in. So everyone he knew has like changed. The world around him has changed. He's traveled through time in the quite literal sense. He never experienced those 100 years. So he's like 200 and something years old, but he's only had the experience of like 150.
Martial mastery common to all fighters with careful study of magic. Magical techniques similar to those practiced by wizards. So it's not necessarily by eldritch means.
Well, that's why I'm thinking, what if he was in one of these like mage areas learning how he was working stuff when the accident went off that caused all this? It gives him a reason to be there. But, you know, he's learning how to use the magic that he has. You know, similar to a wizard, he's doing some studying. Accident goes off. He's in the library. He's like, shit. The alarms are going off. Something's gone wrong. Best leave. Off he walks. Opens the gate to the, to the mage's halls. Why does the world look weird? This street didn't look like this earlier today, did it?
So his far travel is him trying to get back to the home that he knew.
Yeah, maybe he like wants to.
Maybe it's been 1,000 years and it's just ruins.
Oh, that would be even crueler.
And so the only thing he's got to do is go back in the library and start reading. And then like a couple of 1,000 years pass, and now he's got like a bunch of books and knowledge, and he's like, okay, time to travel until I find my way back home.
Yeah, and for him, because the library is still within the time dilation, is literally he spends a few years researching, but each of those years he's researching is like 10 years outside
Yeah.
or something.
Personality. I think this breaks you mentally.
I don't know, it could either completely break you, or it could like make you incredibly like you're gonna have to be like incredibly stoic or incredibly insane to be able to carry on going. You're either gonna have to be like, okay, it's happened, can't change that, but what I can do is find out what the hell happened, to everyone I knew. Find out how to get back to my people. Maybe you can get lucky and find out a way to literally go back to his people. Find a thing of wish.
Yeah.
And wish himself back, back to the time when he came from. Maybe that's maybe that's what he finds in the library. Reference to a thing that like I don't know what wish is attached to as an artifact in fifth edition. But yeah, maybe there's like a ring of wish that just if you can find it, it's like it lists like these are the places it's been known to exist in history. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go and search all of these places to try and see if I can find this thing that might help me get home.
I think he's just like massively in denial about this whole thing.
Yeah, maybe he even assumes that the accident didn't do anything like in terms of like time. Maybe he assumes that the accident went off and destroyed the city, not the Mage Guild. And so when he goes out and sees those ruins, he's like, "Oh fucking hell! What did they do now?" Everyone's been, "Oh fuck," and he's like, "Oh, I need to work out. Yeah, I need to leave. Need to let someone know what's happened here. I obviously survived." And it turns out that it was actually time that was fucked with, but he doesn't realize it. And it takes like, bearing in mind he walks everywhere, maybe it takes like a month of walking to get to the next major town.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets there, and it's like this is not what I was expecting. 1,000 years of culture have gone on that he doesn't know about.
Yeah.
Maybe he's been there before in his original time, and he's like, "Oh, I know how to act in this place." He goes in and he starts doing things that are like frowned upon now, because in the intervening 1,000 years, culture has changed. He starts seeing like, it's like, my word, they're walking around dressed like that.
He sees a pink sheep boy with a crop top and he says, "Look at that whore."
Yeah, I mean, imagine what would happen like if, say, someone from the Victorian era now, turned up to now and saw how some people dressed whilst they're walking around. They would think, "Oh my god, what the fuck? They're not wearing any clothes."
But he's just sort of like
Whereas,
completely in denial about it all.
yeah, he just has no idea what's going on. And it's just like, there's got to be an explanation for this.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, did anyone else survive in the accident? Did he think to check, or does he disappear off, try and work out what's going on, and then later on he bumps into his old friend and is like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I don't know what happened," and he just assumes that because his friend is here, everything's normal. He's like,
"It's been
it's still the same
300
time.
years."
His friend's like, "What the hell are you talking about? The accident happened." It's like, "Yeah, the accident destroyed the town. What are you talking about?" It's like, "No, time destroyed the town. The accident threw us forward a long time." It's like, "Oh, No, you gotta be wrong about that. That just doesn't make any sense.
Buddy'll make it back, probably. Probably not. It said Eldritch. We were going to torture him with a backstory.
And we
Okay.
have. What's more eldritch than getting lost in time?
It's another beast height shifter. We get something different. That'll do. This is kind of like my first D&D character, actually. I played a satyr, Paladin Oath of Glory Entertainer. I can actually write up the story behind that. Actually, that's. I want to just like put up that character. Their name was Heru, and they were from a mysterious island. Boop, 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 boop. Around this island, they were sort of like the hero of town. And then one day they go out fishing to help, sort of like help out the town. Their boat is knocked over and they're like, wake up in a strange world with no idea where they are. And the way that I wanted that plotline to go was I wanted to make it completely like apparent that Heru never once said the boat was on the sea or his island was in the ocean. You know?
Yeah, I think I remember you talking about this one before.
So when people finally sort of like say, "Oh, what? Were there any like notable like port towns nearby?" I was like, "It's a port town. What's a river? What's a shark?" I thought you said you were a fisher, an island fisher. Yeah, I've never seen anything like this before. We get different fish where I'm from. You know, winged fish. So yeah, that backstory was folk hero. And being a satyr was just a normal thing for the town, though. Their ideal was also like finding a way back home, whilst causing as much merriment and uplifting as he goes. That was his thing. Personality was upbeat and kind, always striving for a positive outlook. Bonds. Town which he left behind. Although he hides it, he's deeply concerned for them. Ideas, personality, bonds, flaws. What's his flaw? Oh, I remember what his flaw was now. He was a country bumpkin idiot. I remember when the campaign started, it was like a not census, I think it was a census office, and he was trying to get a passport so he could enter a sea. And the first line I ever said when I ever played D&D was, "Hello, I don't know if I know how to read." And like with some horrific effort, we managed to get through border customs. There you go. I'd like to play this character again someday, I hope. With that little bit of a fucking, like, plot reveal eventually, like, hey, they're from, like, a fucking flying island. I really want to hide that from the party for as long as physically possible.
Let's just hope they're not watching this stream.
Yeah, if I'm ever in a party with you in the future, try and forget that you heard me say this. Like the big turnaround moment. I just think it'll be hilarious when the party's like, you mean an island with, like, water around it and, like, a dock with boats, and they're like, no, an island with cloud all around it. It float. Go out on raft. But yeah, no, we got a kobold to write for. Although, to be honest, I don't really need to write up this character. I basically just did, honestly. What happens when you're a paladin and you also want to entertain, really? I don't think there's much you can do with it.
Not really.
Agenasi. Rogue. Inquisitive is a type of rogue.
I'm assuming that's like my type of rogue then.
Oh. Irradiated? What do you call it, oven? When we oven the cold food, but out hot eat the food? I don't know. All I know is that I will melt if anything warm comes into contact with me.
Or anything wet.
Oh. Okay. I have nothing.
Well, first things first. Inquisitive rogue, what the fuck?
Okay, let's see.
That might give us a clue about a backstory.
As an archetypal inquisitive, you excel at rooting out secrets and unraveling mysteries. Rely on your sharp eye for detail, but also your finely honed ability to read words and deeds of other creatures. Have an eye for deceit, an eye for detail. Insightful fighting, steady eye, unerring eye. Oh.
So this is making me think some kind of spy, an espionage role.
Very keen roll. What does Outlander? Where are we? This website's built like shit. Oh no, it's the Wikidot's having issues, I think. Grew up in the wilds, far from civilization and the comforts of town and technology. It's the migration of herds larger than forests, survived weather more extreme than any city dweller could comprehend. Enjoyed the solitude of being the only thinking creature for miles in any direction. Ah.
That doesn't really match the whole, being good at rooting out secrets. Because if you like not being around people, how would you have got those skills?
Just realized you were pink now? I don't know what you could possibly mean. I've always been pink. What if it's a case of, like, they grew up in a really harsh environment in the wilds? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe their people were exiles, they grew up in the wilds, they, like, ended up being the only one left because everything else got picked off, and they had to, like, look for cues.
I was thinking something along the lines of, what if we, like, dropped in a little bit of, like, druidism, and they're getting secrets not from people.
The trees speak.
Not just the trees, but the animals.
Magic forest or, like, druid.
Could be either.
Maybe they end up becoming, like, an agent of the forest, all things considered. They are an elemental. Bonds. No. Bonds. Family perished long ago. Feels as if her real family is the forest she was raised in.
I am Kayoi, speak for the trees.
Adamant that the trees speak to her when nobody is around.
Ooh. What if it's not the family? The family's still fine. In fact, most of the village is still fine. She hears the trees, and the reason why she likes being alone is because everyone thinks everyone thinks either she's insane or a witch, because she knows things she shouldn't, because the trees tell her. But no one believes that the trees tell her anything. They're just like, okay, how are you getting? You must be getting this information somehow.
Say she was eventually outcast from her people. Trees spoke to her and told her things she couldn't possibly know. Wait, what if it's just the wind told her? She's an air elemental.
Yeah, it could be she just hears the voices on the wind that, like, tell her what's needed.
Okay, that works. Her flaws.
Not very good socially.
Poor social skills. Due to her constant trying to, like, overanalyze people.
I was going to go a slightly different route with the, because she spent so long around the trees whilst being an outcast, she could tell the trees apart, no problem. But she can't do that with people. She spent way too long not around people, so people just look like people. So she'll meet someone and they're like, "Oh, it was good seeing you earlier today," and she's like, "Who? What? Which one were you?" Because she simply does not register the difference in facial, what the faces look like with people. In the same way that we could walk into a wood, a set of woods or forest, and be like, "Well, that tree and that tree look the same." But they're both different type, both completely different species of tree. But to us, they look like tree. She could have the same thing, but where you look like a person.
What about a personality? Not quite just there.
Do we dare go with the whole thing if she's slightly airheaded, being an air elemental?
I mean, it kind of checks with everything else.
And maybe that's what got her kicked out. It's like she heard all these things, and rather than having the sense to just not say anything, she was just like, she just said it. She didn't think about it. She was like, oh, so and so's cheating on his wife, not thinking that the wife is next to him, and could hear it, and then causing a massive issue, and then gets in a load of shit for somehow knowing when it was meant to be an extremely well kept secret. So maybe she just doesn't think things through. She just kind of like has no filter. She says what the wind says.
You can even put no filter in flaws if you like.
Yeah.
If the DM was especially funny, they could just like whisper little secrets to her occasionally.
Oh, that'd be interesting. If the DM knows all of the secret backstories of the characters, he could slowly drip feed her information about the other characters that she shouldn't know.
She just one day drops, "Who was Sarah?"
Yeah.
And it's just like,
and the character's like, I've never mentioned that name ever before around any of you. What?
built different, frankly. What about ideal? Maybe they just simply don't believe in secrets. That's their ideals. A world where people are honest. Oops, message me. Is that my bandit ferret L? That was.
Curtis Ellis.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
What?
I'm
You're
not.
live in the house. Do not swear.
I know.
Fuck.
Fuck.
Oh. Oh.
Cock and ball toucher.
You could insert a lot of things there, honestly.
And, what are we doing?
It's this stream again. I'm recycling content ideas.
Is it really recycling content if it's, for one thing, good content, and for another thing, something that you like?
Who said I like doing this?
Well, you wouldn't be doing it if you didn't like it.
I'd quit streaming tomorrow if I could afford a new Bugatti.
What Bugatti?
I don't know what a Bugatti is.
Let's get down to brass tacks here. What's the cheapest Bugatti?
A lot.
Oh.
The cheapest Bugatti on the market is an all-electric Type 35, which costs $32,000. That's really not that much.
Oh, no, that's I was expecting it to be more. Considering how Top Gear seems to suck Bugatti, suck Bugatti's penis. Old Top Gear.
The cheapest Bugatti costs the same as a family van.
Anyway, we got a next character.
What's the range on it, though?
Who cares? We got a next character. Volan, Orc,
Volan.
Artificer, Armor, Inheritor. You know what this is telling me immediately?
80.
Inheritor. I'm thinking inherited a business. Armorer, Artificer. I'm thinking this is a clothing empire type mogul. You know what I mean?
One second. I need to look up what armorers do.
Because
They might be who I think they do.
Armorers make armor.
I know that. I've thought sometimes like there are some artificers that have like constructs they can build at a certain level. This is not one of them. They just have arcane armor.
They make armor.
Yeah, you know what? I like this clothing. Yeah, clothing / like armor empire. Like these are the people that you contact in order to make vests out of like mithril or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're the like the high end fashion that's like no, this isn't just a dress, darling. This can stop a boar spear, and it looks like a silk gown, but it's like tougher than chainmail.
You could get stepped on by a red dragon in this dress, and nothing would happen.
It's another choke to death on food. Lord, do you need the Heimlich maneuver? This is what happens when you try and eat me midstream.
Oh,
Give
Stop
the
it.
Heimlich maneuver.
Alright, hear me out. Inherited a high-end fashion company. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Part of a high-end fashion company. I'm thinking they have siblings who inherited other parts of the company, and they're constantly like infighting and stuff.
They
Huh?
each sort of like they each inherited, like one inherited the men's fashion, one inherited the ladies' fashion, one had the children's fashion, and one of them had the shoes. And they're constantly fighting. No, the shoes I've made will not go with your dress. Stop it.
I like that. I like the more politicky sort of infighting, not like cloak and dagger shit.
Butting heads over fashion.
Because maybe like their mum or their dad was like they were top of their game. Everyone knew that fashion brand, but because okay, we can't just give it to one of them because that the other three will just go insane and will probably kill the other one because they're just fucking annoying children. We'd
Brass is back.
We'd best give
and
them
then
a
it's just
little bit each.
It's a pantsuit made out of a brass dragon pelt.
Yeah, maybe like all four of them are constantly like worrying about what this, what is going to be in this season.
What
This
is
is literally the current trend, dumbass.
It's like no. Bronze was last season, honey. Bronze was last season. This is made of ice dragon scales. I mean, just look at it. It shimmers in the light.
Okay.
It's chilling to the sight.
So we got our buns, easy. What do we hit up next?
Personality, I think they are. You know Edna from Incredibles.
Yeah, that's basically what I was thinking, but as an orc.
Take that and then mix it with like crackhead energy.
Okay.
Because they are an orc, I imagine they have a lot of like chaotic ideas, or at least a very chaotic form of speech.
We'll call them confident scientific babble. Confident scientific babble spouting.
Yeah, they're
Like it makes
constantly talking
absolutely no
about.
sense initially, but when you actually see like the full picture, it makes total sense.
Yeah, they constantly talking about making toiles and inseams and French stitching and all this, and none of the party knows what the fuck is going on.
Like why the fuck do you need like the claws from a bonehead or whatever the fuck they're called? And it's like, oh, of course you needed those to make the corset instead of like using what fucking whalebone. We might as well just use that. All right.
What about they
Well,
flaws? That shut you up, bitches.
Maybe a bit too.
I was
easily
so.
distracted.
What if they're so into fashion that seeing things that seeing like common clothing is actually like sickening to them?
Perhaps.
Yeah, it kind of goes with the sort of easily distracted thing I was thinking of. That if they see something that they see absolutely hideous, they won't stop staring and be like, "Oh my god, what is going on with them?" But if on the rare occasion they see something gorgeous, they're like, they take out a piece of parchment and start scribbling down.
You know what? Oh, okay,
Things.
so they just have ADD, is what I'm hearing.
No, they're not even that. It's just that, like, say, if because I mean, this is what basically fashion designers seem to be now. They'll like find a concept and be like, oh my god, I have to do, and they'll start like designing a thing around the concept.
Oh my god, wearing condoms is so in right now.
Yeah, I'll make a condom dress.
Yeah, that's been done. That's terrifying. Terrifying that is a thing that has been done. But what are we gonna do?
Have you seen the sideways dress?
I did actually.
Have you seen the Spanish fashion of wide dress?
Yes.
The one that looks like you could just like smuggle a flat screen TV and a Black Friday sale out without no one noticing. So,
Well, for y'all, we have Americans that are just that size.
Oh no! Oh god! I've got to see if I can find this picture to send it to you. You've probably seen it, but it's just like
What
she's
the
really
fuck?
skinny, but then they've built it out. It's like just a square skirt.
Y'all, I just burped and it smelled like beer, and I don't drink.
You're drunk now.
They drink now.
The bitch is fermenting something. I think that's about all we really need to like finish for tonight. We've come up with some characters. I got the sleepy boy brain gene.
Yeah, I figured it would be a shorter stream today.
If I don't get my shower in now, I'm gonna collapse into bed, stinky.
You stinky.
I will not be.
William,
I'm not stinky.
I will let you know that when you left, I solved one case.
I watched.
Oh, you watched?
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm omnipresent.
See, I have my view counter switched off so I don't feel pressured or demoralized by how many or how few people are watching, so I just never know who is.
7 people showed up within the first 5 minutes of your stream.
Oh! And I disappointed every single one of them.
That's true. I'm like the opposite of like the good in you. I actively talk shit down to you.
Yeah. Tell me something I don't know. I've
Yeah.
known you for 3 years.
I'm not gonna lie, we're gonna go on bug thin now.
I was just there. I'll tell him that you're coming.
Don't tell them that I'm coming.
He's coming.
Don't you fucking dare tell him that I'm coming. We're gonna sneak in there. We're gonna sneak in there all stealthy like. See if he doesn't notice us. Alright, everyone get
I'm
your
sure
cardboard
he'll notice.
boxes ready.
Okay.
Hide under blankies if you got them. You got any other like sneaking strats?
Distraction. Go. Look at that over there.
Distraction.
A distraction.
Misdirection. Roll really high on your deception. You don't actually see me.
Yeah, hang on. I'll just say, hey, look over there.
I'm not real.